Today's ancient text is from Matthew chapter 25, verses 31 to 40. At the appointed time, the promised one will come in glory, escorted by all the angels of heaven, and will sit upon the royal throne with all the nations assembled below. Then the promised one will separate them from one another, as a shepherd divides the sheep from the goats. The sheep will be placed on the right hand, the goats on the left. The ruler will say to those on the right, "Come, you blessed of my Abba God, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you fed me. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. Naked, and you clothed me. I was ill, and you comforted me. In prison, you came to visit me." Then these just will ask, "When did we see you hungry and feed you, or see you thirsty and give you drink? When did we see you as a stranger and invite you in, or clothe you in your nakedness? When did we see you ill or in prison and come visit you?" The ruler will answer them, "The truth is, every time you did this for the least of my sisters and brothers, you did it to me." Holy wisdom, holy word.
Thanks be to God.
Some of you may know, other of you do not, that it's been well over a year now since I've had a drink of alcohol. And when I had my last drink, I don't know that I realized it would be my last one. I didn't set out to stop drinking. I just knew that it wasn't working for me anymore. Sometimes we have to lose someone or something to know what it meant to us or what it did for us. And for me, the way that I was using alcohol was I was using it to numb my pain. A lot of us do that. And there are a lot of examples that I could give of that. But the most recent one that I can offer is actually during a recent trip. Brian and Hanel and I just came back a week ago from a trip to Oaxaca, Mexico, which actually, many of you, I bring greetings from Rita and Fede, who we saw there. And, but my time in Mexico was wonderful, warm, filled with hospitality and beauty, and a lot of care received. And it was also, in many ways, it was very painful, because I had to confront, in a different way, some of the pain that I feel at our country, my country, I should say. Many of us in this room, our country. I felt a lot of pain and grief because the warmth and the hospitality that we received from, and the friendliness and the welcome, isn't reciprocal right now. Instead, when Mexicans come to our country, most are met with violence, with coldness, maybe with hatred, certainly with systemic oppression targeted toward them and toward many others, not only Mexico, right? Most folks who are migrating or immigrating here will feel this when they cross our borders. Many people who are citizens here feel this. Black and brown people, queer folks. We can name them, I won't go on and on. We know. Being there, being in Oaxaca, made the pain of this country's actions just more unavoidable. And I didn't have kind of my go-to numbing agent to help me look away. And lately, it feels like everything right now is coming back to pain and to grief over and over again. If we're really looking with honest hearts at what is happening in the world, then our natural response will be pain. It's not like this is new, but for many of us, this is being unveiled anew. Just in this last week, Killeen, who Chris named, was returned or released from prison and then imprisoned again and threatened with deportation again. This time to another place. This last week, 2 children were shot and killed in a school in Minneapolis. One of whom, right, our family being from Minneapolis is a friend of a friend, right? So, these things are not far from us. They're here in our community. We see just this week further disintegration of our government. It's nothing new. We know this is happening. It still hurts to be proven again and again that it's still happening. The way the response is, right, in our government to so many of these things, in our government, I should say, in the US government, it's not all ours. There's such a strong contrast between that and our text for today. I don't have it in front of me, you do, where Jesus says, if you healed someone, if you fed someone, if you cared for someone, if you loved for someone, then you did it to me too. I am all of these people. That's me. The people that we humans tend to other, even when they're ourselves. We separate them out and create little pockets inside of ourselves and say, that's not me. Right? So even other pieces of ourselves. Jesus says, that's me. Sometimes, though, I worry a little bit that we can get caught up in the tasks of this text. Feed people, house people, clothe people, heal people. Yes, you should do all these things. Yes, of course. But the underlying message here isn't about tasks. It's about love. Love isn't a checklist. Love is about seeing, about bearing witness, about not turning away, not numbing, about seeing people as people. I'm reminded, there's a photo from the civil rights movement of a black man holding a sign that says, I am a man. Seeing each other as human beings. Seeing creation, seeing all the cosmos as valuable just because it exists, we exist. So Jesus isn't only talking about the doing, Jesus is talking about the love. We've been conditioned in our culture to conflate love with being good, loving with doing good. They're slightly different. In part because we receive that message and then feel that we need to do good in order to be lovable. There's something we need to do to be enough. But we aren't here prove anything to each other. There's no earning to do. There is simply letting the walls come down between us and seeing each other and being with each other. The love is already here if we allow it. And then what happens comes next, right? It's a response. We're being asked to love, to bear witness. Just because just being, any person existing is enough for them to have dignity and be lovable. I want to point to a piece in the text. Our translation says the word stranger. Well, if we look at the Greek in this text is xenos or xenos. You might know this Greek root from the word xenophobia. So xenos means stranger, but it also might mean, it's been translated as foreigner, it's been translated as alien, or something that's novel or new. There's also some interesting places in the Bible where the same word xenos, or the root of it, is actually host. Someone who hosts you, or guest. So we've lost a little bit of that quality in English. When we think of the word stranger, that might even, that bumps up against like foreigner or something different. But the word in the Greek and in the culture where Jesus was moving and teaching and living, it was something more akin to just someone who's different. An opportunity to host or be hosted. But it also is a really clear tie to Chris's story and what she offered us today. She spoke about Killeen Abrego Garcia, Moises Sotelo, Eduardo Saldivar, and the invitation to see them, to remember them, to stand with them. And that calls to mind, of course, the names of many others who we've been asked to see and remember: George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Philando Castile, Trayvon Martin, Alton Sterling, Michael Brown. So many more. Anybody else have other names that you want said here? Freddie Gray. Doesn't just have to be black or brown men, there are so many. There exists in the request to be seen a longing to be loved by the world, to be seen as lovable by our world. And that's the kind of loving that Jesus was talking about. This innate quality that all of us know when we come deep into ourselves, or that maybe has been buried so deep within ourselves that it's so hard to access anymore. But there is a longing and a knowing that we can create worlds in which all of us are known and seen and loved exactly as who we are. And I think that we can also get, the same way that we can be like, okay, like feed people, like we create a task list for ourselves. Like when we're thinking, how do I love, how do I care for people? We also kind of create task lists for ourselves when we're trying to create these better worlds. I'm thinking about our community is so steeped, right, in the organizing cycle or spiral. listen, research, act, reflect. Create ourselves a strategic plan, step 1, step 2. But has anyone here heard of a murmuration? Do you know what a murmuration is? It's like, a couple of years ago, there was this a video that went viral online, and it was this flock of birds, but they weren't like flying in the V, although this would be a similar example, but they were like moving in a flock like this, all across the lake, like as one being, and then they would go from here and then spiral upward, and they were just moving together. And I wonder what happens when we start to think about ourselves as trying to move in this way. Not that we shouldn't make strategic plans. Okay, we'll keep trying to do that. That's one way that we try to hold ourselves accountable, right? We try to communicate to one another about what our intentions are, where our horizon is. And I think there's also something about just being here and listening to one another and seeing each other and responding in real time in a simple way to just that. And knowing like we can kind of move together in this way. And when we get practiced at that, it kind of like it ripples outward. Our bodies can take that on. We get a little better at it, and we can respond to more folks in this way. It's subtle. We're not like gonna go out and, it's like maybe evangelios, right? Evangelism. But we're not gonna, go recruit someone. We're gonna show up. We're gonna see. So there's that kind of flocking. You can also think of it in the migration of birds, as they find their way to where they're going. We'll start to see them soon if we haven't already, the V's that soar across the sky. We thought about this at Doug's baptism at the river when we spoke about the salmon making their way back and forth along the Willamette, finding their way through trust and through intuition toward the place where they came forth, given life, to return and lay eggs, make their own new lives. When we think about it with the seeds that crack open in the soil. Just knowing how to do it because the conditions around them are so. The heat, the temperature, the moistness, the nutrients. Just because they're paying attention. So, yes, let's follow a process, let's follow a plan. And there is no roadmap for these unprecedented times. We can look to other times. Jesus' time had immense parallels to this time. That's I think why his message resonates so much. He was speaking in the context of an empire that wanted to destroy him and his people, or at least control them and exert all of their resources for themselves. At the very least, that's like the life that they could count on. But Jesus didn't have a strategic plan. Jesus talked about love. Listen, show up, respond. He taught us how to care for the whole. Who's sick? Heal them. Who's ill? Heal them. I said the same thing twice. Who's hungry? feed them. So sometimes caring for the whole is really just that. It's just caring. Being willing to notice and let ourselves feel it, the pain and the grief. And there's a balance to that too, right? We have to feel it and not be completely subsumed. That's part of the grief of the time too. How do we go on living our lives to be able to contribute, to care for each other, to care for our children, to care for our elders, and be eyes wide open about everything that's happening? But we start with letting it in. We start with the grief. And that's what you're being asked to do today. You don't have to fix anything. Today, we're not going to fix it today. But we do have to feel it. If we can begin that process of the murmuration, that can lead toward movement, that can lead toward transformation. So trust in that process, trust that love will show us all the way. That's it. That's all I have to say today. But in your bulletin, you have a little card here. All right, so what we're going to do with these cards is, and thank you, yes, and Ginny has the markers and is passing them around. Take a marker. You can put your name on one corner. And on the front side, right, where is it? There are 2 prompts. We're going to have some time to respond to the prompts. The first prompt is, who or what do I want to offer care to this morning? If you can, jot it down on the card so that you don't forget, because there are 2 prompts. Who or what do I want to offer care to this morning? On the other side, what care am I longing for or needing today? Because care is mutual. We're none of us saving anything other than we're just all trying to maybe save each other. Who am I offering care to? What care am I needing? What we're going to do after this is in your one-to-ones, you'll find someone and you'll exchange cards, share a little bit about it. Check in with each other, because then in our prayers are going to reflect these questions. And the person you're speaking with may or may not want these shared in the prayers. So get a sense of whether or not you know them. Okay, any questions? But first we'll take a couple minutes to write down your responses and reflect a bit. Then we'll break into pairs. Then we'll share all this together.